I just watched Antrum, the deadliest film ever made, so that means I am apparently cursed and or doomed to die a horrible, tragic death. I have a feeling some of you may know what I'm talking about, because apparently this film has been popular among the TikTok community. I actually heard about this film because of my boy Mr. GG, but anyways, what even is Antrum? Apparently, this film was actually made sometime in the 70s, but never actually got a full release. This was because many who actually watched the film succumbed to a tragic death. The theater that Antrum first screened in had burned down in a horrible fire, killing everyone inside. Not to mention, there were numerous deaths outside of the screenings, relating to cast members. Now, I have always been interested in the idea of a cursed film. I've always heard about some very iconic films like The Exorcist and The Omen having many tragedies or instances of the set actually burning down. No doubt, many people feel it's connected to the films being centered around satanic themes. There's even a movie that's apparently so cursed that it's never been made. A script for a film titled A Tuck was supposedly responsible for around 9 deaths, as anyone who showed interest in the lead role wound up dead shortly after getting their hands on the script. These deaths include John Candy, John Belushi, and Chris Farley. Though many argue it was only a mere coincidence, as those who died suffered from serious substance and alcohol abuse leading to a severe decline in health. It doesn't change the fact that every time an actor showed interest in starring in this movie, they ended up dead. I'm sure many of us in some way or another are thrill seekers. Some of us love going out to amusement parks to experience these thrill rides that are meant to terrify you, or even just seek out the occasional horror flick that induces fear, or just simply puts out some jump scares to scare you for a little bit. But I know there are many of us out there that enjoy a little more than that. Some of us enjoy testing our own limits by seeking out the most disturbing or horrifying films you could possibly watch. Sure, some people may just quickly point to movies like Saw or Hostel as the grossest, most disturbing popcorn flicks to watch, but if you dig deeper, you'll find that movies like Martyrs and Cannibal Holocaust rank highest among the most disturbing films ever made. Now, after personally seeking out these films, I can definitely see why. These films are not easy to stomach and are not meant for any casual horror movie junkie. The only reason you would watch these types of movies is if you have a morbid curiosity to see how far filmmakers have gone to make some truly hard to watch films. What about a film that could literally do physical harm to you? This is where Antrum, the deadliest film ever made, comes in. A film supposedly so cursed that it would actually kill you after you've watched it. Naturally, this film garnered a lot of attention. I mean, did you actually expect people to stay away from the film that could actually kill you after watching it? No. Curiosity killed the cat, and I, along with some other friends, had the bit of curiosity that would lead to all of us watching this cursed film. But why is this movie apparently so cursed anyways? Well, the film has a very interesting structure. It begins as sort of a documentary, retelling the accounts of those succumbing to death after watching this movie. The film crew talk about how this film was lost for years until it was recently rediscovered and ready to be watched by millions of moviegoers. Some of the crew don't explicitly say they believe this film could kill those who are to watch it, but heavily imply it. Before the film begins, a warning appears on screen telling the audience that the film crew isn't responsible for any deaths that may occur after viewing the movie, and give you 30 seconds before the movie actually begins, just in case you feel like you need to turn away. The movie itself contains a lot of symbolism, distorted audio, unrelated footage that some may consider disturbing, and many depictions of demons and hell. The film goes on almost as if it were a slow burn, but I wouldn't actually call it a slow burn film. The movie moves very slowly in an attempt to keep the audience on edge. When things do happen, you may question whether it was the work of hellish creatures or simply the imagination of a young boy and his older sister. The sound design of this film is also one of its strong points. Listen closely during the movie and you will find that much of the audio is distorted as if it were tampered with. In some instances, you can hear whispering and voices chanting in reverse. Many times throughout the film, it is very quiet, almost silent. The silence adds to any eeriness, which can make some feel uneasy as they have no idea what could come next. The film contains footage and sometimes still images not related to the actual plot of the film. There are many moments with B-reel footage randomly put in, with no relation, but can be considered disturbing nonetheless. Such footage includes a woman bound and gagged, being tortured, all captured in black and white. Other moments include images or videos depicting the demons Baphomet and Ashtaroth. One moment in particular depicted Astaroth staring into the camera for an extensive amount of time. But now I will not show the footage, as many do consider it to be disturbing or distressing. But if you would like to see, despite the movie and our warnings, I will insert the Astaroth footage in the last 30 seconds of the video. But don't worry, I will warn you before said footage is shown, and I will also not put in any cheap jump scares. Although that'd actually be pretty funny. The final thing to note about this film is that it contains subliminal text and imagery. Every now and then, for a split second, you can catch flashing text that, upon further inspection and later explanation, is written in Latin. There are also many instances of the sigil of Astaroth and short displayed images of Baphomet appearing on screen. In total, the sigil of Astaroth is shown over 170 times, and apparently, Astaroth and his sigil is what makes this movie so cursed. And in the final moments of the film, you come face to face again with Astaroth, and he points directly at you. But the big question, was this movie good? Nope. For starters, the film is incredibly boring on a normal viewing. To be completely transparent though, I watched the movie in a Discord call in the middle of the day with a bunch of friends. But even still, I don't think I should have been as bored as I was while watching that movie. For the most part, we were all there just laughing our asses off because of how boring and ridiculous this movie was. And the only one who actually took it seriously was this guy.
Hey, I'm this guy.
First of all, the plot kind of makes no sense. So in the beginning, the family dog gets put down. What's the dog?
Doggo.
Jesus Christ, you screamed. And on their car ride home, Nathan asks his mother if the dog went to heaven, and she responds with no, she didn't because she was a bad dog. Why this mother would bother saying such a thing to a 6-year-old boy, I have no idea. I mean, I guess its only purpose was to get the movie going, because after that, the older sister, Orally, and yes, her name is Orally, takes Nathan to the woods to dig to hell and bring back the dog's soul to heaven, I think? I don't know. The movie does a pretty shit job at explaining it. In the end, it turns out the sister was actually lying just to make Nathan feel better about their dog dying, but lo and behold, actual demons appear and torment them. You know, I'm not very religious, but I'm fairly confident that I would never in a million years even think about taking any of my younger siblings to the woods and dig to hell just to rescue our pup from an eternity in hell. That's what you call being a horrible sibling. So yeah, Orly's a bitch and everything's her fault. Blondes, am I right?
Tom,
What?
shut the up.
I also wouldn't say I was ever genuinely creeped out by this film. A lot of people have said that the movie was kind of creepy, almost disturbing, but I never thought that. If anything, I thought this film on many occasions tried way too hard to be just that, and ultimately made it more ridiculous. Like I said before, the film contains a lot of distorted audio and implies that it was tampered with, trying to add a creepy layer. But honestly, the distorted audio never scared any of us. In fact, it sounds very amateur. It sounds like something you could whip up in Sony Vegas. It's not that hard. Would I even go as far as to say that this movie was ever scary? Well, like I said, in all fairness, I watched this movie with some friends and we got so bored we cracked a lot of jokes.
What's the difference between my ex and razor blades?
What?
The razor blades went deeper.
Damn. But I still think if this movie was scary enough, I could understand where most of these scary scenes are. But to tell you the truth, there was only ever one moment where I could see why people would be scared. I mentioned earlier that there's a solid 30 seconds where Astaroth stares into the camera. Now I have seen this clip alone in the dark, and I can say it is kind of hard to watch. But like I said though, I won't be showing you until the very end. But when watching it as a group, some of us had a stare down. Hey, staring contest, ready, go.
Bitch, you looking kind of fine.
He blinks. But anyways, I would say that's all the film has to offer when it comes to horror. Unless you're easily scared by demonic imagery and distorted music, then this film won't really give you many scares. As for the supposed curse, the movie ends by the documentary crew telling us that the sigil of Astaroth is supposedly what curses you. Upon seeing these sigils over 170 times, you are marked by Astaroth and doomed to die. But how much validity does this curse actually have? In fact, how much validity does this whole movie have? Where to even start? After watching this movie, I was waiting to be cursed by Astaroth. I mean, I took a short nap after watching this movie. I expected to have nightmares or wake up in hell or some shit. But no, I woke up hungry hungry, went into the kitchen at 3 a.m., even shouted "Hail Satan," but was met with nothing. I am severely disappointed. Also, everyone else who watched it with me said they didn't feel cursed or any different, so go figure. Yeah, what did you think of the movie Antrum?
I mean, I think the way it was advertised, like it's a very cursed movie, and if you watch it, you get curses. I mean, exactly that, just advertisement. I don't really feel cursed. My life hasn't really changed, to be honest. The movie was kind of boring. It was really slow paced.
Hell, my buddy Daniel even had to work the night shift after watching this movie, and he said jack shit happened to him. So Daniel, was it true that you worked the night shift the day after you watched the movie Antrum?
Guess so, yeah.
Okay. And would you say you experienced anything odd or peculiar on your graveyard shift?
No.
No? Okay. So would you go as far as to say that this whole movie was just a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah.
Pretty much? 100%?
Yeah,
This movie
pretty
kind of sucks. It was a waste of time?
Yeah.
Alright. But there were some of us that did think this movie had some substance, I guess.
It had its forced moments where it wanted to be scary, but had its moments where if given to the right viewers, they can genuinely have a nice experience. Unless you're just messing around with a whole bunch of friends, then it's just genuine fun.
Complete honest review. Your complete honest rating. How would you rate the film out of 10?
Out of 10,
Yes.
I would give it, honestly, out of 10, maybe I want to give it a 4.5, a generous 5.
A generous 5. Okay, fair enough.
Generous 5. Me being generous, I'd give it a 5.
Secondly, the film is marketed as the deadliest film ever made, because those who happened to watch it ended up dead. That's fine and all, but there's a major problem with that. The film was supposedly screened all the way back in the 70s, but you know what I found? Firstly, the movie was filmed in 2017.
Yeah, it wasn't even, the movie says it was shot in the 70s, it was shot in 2017. So, I mean, it just didn't live up to the hype. I'll be real.
And even if somehow, some way that information that we got was somehow just false, one look at IMDb shows that the actress for Orally is actually the voice actress for Jill Valentine in the Resident Evil 3 remake, and she does not look like she could come from the 70s. So knowing this, you would know that yeah, this film is nothing more than a mockumentary that had admittedly amazing marketing tactics. Was it even worth the watch though? I mean, I was genuinely very curious to see this movie, and so were my friends. We all wanted to be able to say that we have seen the deadliest film ever made, but after watching this movie, it just feels like it was a mediocre at best horror film that tries a little too hard to act like it really is cursed. Personally, I can't recommend that you watch it. There is no curse, you will not die. All that will happen is a guaranteed boredom from a film that had an interesting way of marketing itself. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think, and hit that notification bell to stay updated whenever I upload videos. I've been Don Bayham, stay humble peeps, and have a good one. Also, don't forget about Astaroth. Whatever. Alright, I'm gonna start the movie now. Antrum, the deadliest film ever made.
A few minutes later.
Are you gonna stream it, Dom?
Oh shit, I just realized.
Keep the beginning part in there, Dom, when you forgot to stream it.